When people try to break you, it's easy to take it personally. It feels like their words, their actions, and their negativity are direct attacks on your character, your dreams, and your worth. But the truth is, most of the time, it's not really about you. People who try to tear others down are often fighting battles within themselves. Their words are echoes of their own insecurities, their own disappointments, and their own unresolved pain. Sometimes your strength, your ambition, or your happiness reminds them of everything they lack. Instead of facing their own reflection and working on themselves, they try to shatter yours. They try to pull you down so they can feel taller. They try to dim your light because they are uncomfortable sitting in their own darkness. Understanding this changes everything. It shifts the way you see their behavior. You stop asking, why are they doing this to me? And you start seeing as what's happening inside of them that makes them act this way. It doesn't excuse their actions, but it helps you stop carrying the weight of their bitterness. You realize that their attempt to break you is often a projection of the parts of themselves they can't face. Sometimes, people see you healing and it bothers them because they're still hurting. They see you winning and it stings because they feel like they're losing. Your courage might trigger someone's fear. Your authenticity might make someone's mask feel heavy. It's not your fault, but it can become your responsibility to not let their issues become your burden. When you see this clearly, you can detach. You can stop feeding into their game. You can stop overthinking their words. Their attempts to break you lose their power because you no longer believe that their opinion defines you. You learn to observe, not absorb. You learn to say, that's about them, not me. And when you master this mindset, you free yourself from the invisible chains of their approval, their judgment, and their validation. You walk with a quiet strength because you no longer need to defend yourself to people who are never trying to understand you. You no longer waste energy fighting battles that don't belong to you. You focus on growing, building, and moving forward, while they stay stuck in the cycle of their own negativity. The greatest act of strength is to keep shining, even when someone hopes you'll break. And the moment you realize their attacks have nothing to do with you, that's when you become unbreakable. Your self-worth is the foundation of your strength. When people try to break you, their words and actions can only reach as far as you allow them to. If you base your value on what others say, you will always be at their mercy. Their opinions will rise and fall, and if you tie yourself to them, you ride that wave until you're completely lost. But when your worth comes from within, it becomes unshakable. You are no longer controlled by the applause or the criticism. You know who you are, even when the world tries to tell you otherwise. People will project labels onto you. They will try to define you by your mistakes, your past, or your weaknesses. They will tell you what you can't do, what you'll never be, and where you don't belong. But their words only have power if you choose to believe them. The truth is, no one gets to decide your value but you. It is something you declare. It is something you build through self-respect, self-awareness, and self-love. You have to reach a point where you no longer ask, am I good enough? But instead say, I am already enough. When your self-worth is solid, you stop chasing validation. You stop bending, shrinking, or changing just to please people who may never accept you anyway. You become rooted. You walk into every room with quiet confidence, not because you think you're better than anyone, but because you are not comparing yourself to anyone. You no longer measure your value based on whether people like you, support you, or understand you. You simply know your own worth, and that's more than enough. Building this kind of strength isn't about arrogance. It's about understanding that you are not defined by what you lack. You are not your failures. You are not your scars. You are not the names people have called you in their attempts to break you. You are a collection of your choices, your growth, your resilience. You are your own story, written by you, not by their opinions. When you hold this truth deeply, you become unshakable. People can try to bring you down, but they can't reach the core of you. They can talk, they can judge, They can laugh, but they can't touch your worth. And when you know that, you move differently. You protect your peace. You choose your battles. And you continue rising not because they said you could, but because you decided you would. Strength is not about pretending you don't feel pain. It's not about building walls so high that nothing can touch you. True strength is about how you manage your emotions when people try to break you. It's about choosing your response instead of being dragged into emotional chaos. When someone attacks you, when they criticize you, when they push your buttons, they are usually looking for a reaction. They want to see you lose control. They want to see you angry, broken, or desperate. Because if they can control your emotions, they can control your energy. And if they control your energy, they have power over you. But you don't have to give them that power. You can feel the pain, but still choose calm. You can feel the sting of their words, but still choose not to strike back. This is not weakness. It's discipline. It's emotional maturity. It's knowing that your peace is worth more than any argument. It's knowing that not every battle deserves your attention. You don't have to react to every insult. You don't have to answer every challenge. Sometimes, the most powerful move is silence. Sometimes, the strongest response is no response at all. When you can control your emotional responses, you shift the balance of power. The person trying to break you expects you to crumble. They expect you to lash out. They expect you to fall apart. But when you stand steady, when you hold your ground without losing yourself, you show them something they can't understand. You show them that your strength comes from within, not from what's happening around you. And that is the kind of power they can never take. Of course, this is not easy. Controlling your emotions doesn't mean you don't feel them. It means you process them wisely. It means you step back, breathe deeply, and ask yourself, is this worth my peace? Is this worth my energy? Most of the time you will find that it isn't. You will find that the best way to win is to refuse to play their game. This isn't about bottling up your feelings or pretending to be unaffected. It's about responding in ways that protect your growth, your focus, and your mental health. It's about choosing your future over a moment of emotional satisfaction. Every time you choose calm over chaos, you are telling yourself, I am in control. I decide how I move. And that quiet control, that's what real strength looks like. One of the most powerful things you can do when people try to break you is to set boundaries, clear, firm, and unapologetic boundaries. You don't owe anyone unlimited access to your time, your energy, or your mind. Not everyone deserves a place in your life, and not everyone should have the privilege to speak into your spirit. When someone repeatedly disrespects you, drains you, or tries to tear you down, you have every right to close the door. Protecting your peace is not selfish, it's necessary. You are not here to be available for people who only show up to hurt you. Often, people will try to make you feel guilty for creating distance. They will accuse you of being cold, of changing, or of walking away too easily. But here's the truth. You are allowed to grow out of relationships. You are allowed to outgrow spaces that no longer support your well-being. Setting boundaries is not about pushing people away, it's about deciding what you will and will not tolerate. It's about choosing yourself when others continuously choose to disrespect you. You do not have to explain yourself to anyone who is committed to misunderstanding you. The people who truly care about you will respect your boundaries. They will honor your need for space, your right to say no, and your decision to protect your energy. The ones who resist your boundaries are usually the ones who benefited from you having none. You have to be willing to lose people who expect you to lose yourself to keep them. You cannot keep watering gardens that only leave you empty. Boundaries are not about building walls so high that no one can reach you. They are about creating doors that you control. You decide who enters, who stays, and who leaves. You decide what kind of conversations you allow, what kind of behavior you accept, and what kind of energy you invite into your life. That is your power. And when you start living with this kind of intention, something changes. You stop feeling guilty for choosing yourself. You stop chasing people who only take. You stop explaining why you won't allow someone to repeatedly cross the same line. You stand tall in your decision to guard your peace. Remember, your peace, your mental health, and your emotional well-being are priceless. You are not required to carry people who want to see you fall. You are not required to stay in spaces that suffocate your growth. You owe it to yourself to choose peace, to choose distance when necessary, and to keep moving forward with or without their understanding. When people try to break you, it's tempting to focus all your energy on proving them wrong. You may feel the urge to fight, to show them that you're stronger, smarter, and more capable than they ever thought. But if you spend your life chasing revenge, you're still letting them control your direction. You're still tied to their opinions. You're still moving through life with them as your focus. The truth is, real power comes when you let go of the need to prove anything to anyone. Instead of living to show them what you can do, you start living to build the life you deserve. Revenge is loud, but growth is quiet. People expect you to strike back. They expect you to get lost in trying to get even. What they don't expect is for you to rise silently, steadily, with your focus locked on your own journey. They don't expect you to outgrow the fight. They don't expect you to choose your future over your pride. But that's where your real strength lives, in choosing growth over battles that don't deserve you. When you focus on revenge, you are still connected to the people who tried to break you. You're still giving them space in your mind, still allowing their actions to shape your decisions. But when you choose growth, you cut that tie. You stop living for their reaction, and you start living for your own progress. You stop looking back at them, and you start looking ahead at what's possible for you. Let them talk. Let them doubt you. Let them think they've won. None of it matters if you keep building. None of it matters if you keep moving forward. Success is not about proving them wrong, it's about proving to yourself that you are more than what they tried to make you believe. Your best revenge is not standing over them. It's standing in your own light, untouched by their negativity, untouched by their attempts to pull you down. Channel your energy into becoming the best version of yourself, not into fighting old battles. Every minute you spend growing is a minute you steal from their influence. Every step you take toward your goals is a step away from their reach. Growth is quiet. Growth is personal. And it is the most undeniable answer to anyone who ever wanted to see you fall. Your story doesn't need to be about proving them wrong. It can be about becoming everything they said you couldn't be, and doing it for yourself, not for them. The people you surround yourself with shape your mindset, your energy, and often your future. When you're constantly around those who try to break you, criticize you, or tear you down, it's easy to start believing their words. It's easy to start shrinking, doubting, and questioning your own worth. That's why it's so important to choose your circle carefully. Not everyone deserves to be close to you. Not everyone deserves access to your heart, your dreams, or your time. You need people who lift you up, not those who secretly hope you fail. Sometimes, we hold on to relationships simply because they've been around for a long time. We mistake history for loyalty. We think we owe people space in our lives because they've known us for years. But just because someone has walked with you in the past doesn't mean they belong in your future. Pay attention to how people make you feel when you leave their presence. Do you feel drained? Do you feel smaller? Or do you feel inspired, stronger, and more like yourself? The right people will always remind you of who you are, especially when you start to forget. Surround yourself with people who challenge you to grow, who speak life into your dreams, who see your potential, even when you can't. The right people don't try to control you. They don't belittle your ambitions. They don't compete with you. They encourage you to keep going when life gets heavy. They remind you of your power when the world tries to convince you that you're weak. And you are constantly around negativity, it will slowly chip away at you. You may not notice it right away, but over time, you start to carry their doubt as your own. You'll start limiting yourself, not because you can't, but because you've been surrounded by people who told you that you can't. This is why you need to be intentional about building a support system that feeds your growth, not your fears. Sometimes, staying strong means walking away from the wrong people, even if that's uncomfortable. It means having the courage to choose peace over familiarity. It means understanding that you don't need a crowd, you just need the right ones. Quality always matters more than quantity when it comes to your circle. You deserve to be around people who genuinely want to see you win. People who celebrate your success, not resent it. People who hold you accountable, not drag you down. When you build your life around those who truly support you, staying strong becomes easier because you're no longer fighting alone. Staying strong when people try to break you is not about proving them wrong. It's about proving to yourself that you are unshakable. Protect your peace, guard your energy, and focus on your growth. The opinions of others cannot define you unless you allow them to. Keep rising, keep moving, and let your strength speak for itself.